Hi everybody, I'm here today to talk with you about Jupiter's ingress into Sagittarius. Jupiter entered Sagittarius this morning at around 7:30 a.m. Today is November 8th, 2018, by the way, but we are going to be working with this energy for the next year. Jupiter is in Sagittarius until December of 2019. So let's dig in. I believe that this is going to be a very positive, uplifting transit on a personal level. But in a collective atmosphere, it gets a little tricky. So, first of all, Jupiter represents optimism. You have a lot of people out there predicting that this is going to be a very positive transit. And it is in a lot of ways, but Jupiter tends to only deliver 10% of what it promises because it is a hot air planet, and optimism and enthusiasm and confidence, these are all wonderful things to have, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we get stuff done. Fortunately for us, Saturn is in Capricorn, so we kind of have the best of both worlds right now. We have the planet of optimism in its home sign where it's really comfortable and really telling us to go for it. And then you have Saturn in Capricorn that is cautious and cares about the details and how are we going to make this happen. Saturn in Capricorn is here to help us build, and in order to build something, you have to think like an architect. You have to do the math, you have to make sure everything's to code. So here we have this enthusiastic planet saying go for it, and then we have this other planet that is trying to help us figure out how we can actually make that a reality, because Saturn is all about the physical world. It's really about manifestation. It will tell you realistically, oh, that's not really possible. You would have to go do this and this and this. But it is the planet of manifestation, Saturn is, in the physical world. Jupiter, though, is the vision. So before we have something that we want to concretize, we have to have that vision. So Jupiter in Sagittarius might help us connect with that vision. It's going to help us to get excited about what's possible. It gives us hope. It gives us something we want to believe in. So while Jupiter is in Sagittarius, a big topic is going to be, what is the truth? What is your truth? What do I believe? And there's a lot of versions of truth out there, as we know. So that's the other thing with Jupiter, is that it's so expansive that sometimes there's just like too many options, or it's hard to kind of wrap your head around. It's so big. So one of the philosophies that ties in with its sign of Sagittarius is this whole idea of wanting to know, wanting to understand. And that quest to understand is so vast, sometimes so much bigger, and it connects to this giant web that it's impossible to really know and understand everything, but you kind of have a feeling. It's more of a feeling. So when all the facts and desires to explore and experience everything gets so overwhelming and the truth gets so overwhelming, the other motto of Jupiter / Sagittarius is eat, drink, and be merry. So it's kind of a celebratory aspect too. So I waited to make this video partially because of time, but also because I kind of wanted to see what the energy was of the week. And we're just coming out of the midterm elections here. And as I predicted in my last video, or kind of speculated, was that, yeah, Jupiter in Sagittarius gives us hope. But we're all experiencing that. So we all get a little bit of hope, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what your political policies and all that are, no matter who you voted for. We're all getting a little bit of hope. And as we can see from the results of the election, there were disappointments and victories on either side of the political parties. So we're all getting... So yeah, it's given us a little bit of that hope that we've all been craving. Since Saturn entered Capricorn last December, we kind of all had to come down a level. We all had to kind of, think the mood got a little bit lower. It got a little bit more depressed, and that's because Saturn in Capricorn says we got to look at things realistically here. And that's really necessary, and that's a really good thing. We have to be realistic and quit distracting ourselves, because again, Saturn in Capricorn is all about sobriety. You know, we got to look at things clear. We don't want to just have that belief that everything's going to be okay, when that's what we thought with the last election and it wasn't. So we needed to be without that sense of inflated optimism for a moment. But we spent about the last year being down in the dumps and a little bit more just looking at things for what they are, and that's fine. But now we get that little bit of elevation again. And the hope is very positive. We're all ready for it. We all need it. We all need that little bit of hope. But it's important that we remember that there's still a lot of work to do, because Jupiter can only expand so far as Saturn. And then Saturn says, we have work to do. So hopefully this year we get that nice balance of, we can do this, we can make our dream happen, but we're also getting the help from Saturn to help manifest this hope and this dream. So this morning we got the news that Ruth Bader Ginsburg fell and broke 3 ribs. And this fits into the symbolism of Jupiter in Sagittarius, because one of the topics of Jupiter is judges. It rules the judges, it rules the judicial system and the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has already been a hot topic since over the summer when Brett Kavanaugh was nominated, and there's been a lot of hope placed in Ruth Bader Ginsburg that she can stay healthy and stay able to serve on the Supreme Court, at least through the end of this presidential term. So she's been our beacon of hope as far as women go and Democrats go. And this morning she fell and she's in the hospital. So this is obviously bad news. But we're hoping that she makes a speedy and full recovery. However, we also look and see around the events around a larger planetary ingress like Jupiter or Saturn. You know, last year when Jupiter entered Scorpio, within that week, the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke out and created a whole year-long theme of bringing things out in the open about difficult things that we need to talk about to heal, which is all Scorpio. So now with this event on this day, I worry that this could be a topic that we might deal with over the next year, if not the health of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but the Supreme Court in general. There's a lot of worry here. So what is your truth? We're going to be hearing a lot more from people about what their beliefs and their truths are. This is the time to speak your truth. Barrack Obama, he has been kind of quiet since he left office, but in the past few months, he's starting to get a little bit more outspoken. So we might find out more about what people's truth is. And it's time to ask ourselves, what is our truth and what we believe? So one thing that can kind of come with this, though, is, you know, every planet in its sign, and Jupiter is very comfortable in its home sign of Sagittarius. So it's ready to share and talk about what our beliefs are. And maybe the hope is that we can kind of come to a bigger understanding in this country of where people are coming from. And hopefully that can take us on a journey somewhere to better understand one another. However, things are pretty divided in the United States right now, and maybe in other countries too. But so we have these kind of two camps, and one thing that Jupiter in Sagittarius is capable of is being overzealous and kind of dogmatic, especially when it makes tough aspects. And Jupiter's going to be making tough aspects to Neptune all year. That's going to be the end of January, around the middle of June, and at the beginning of November last year. It's going to be making a square to Neptune. So we can definitely get into that kind of fanaticism that you might hear. And another archetype for a poorly aspected Jupiter and Sag might be a used car salesman, a false guru, or a politician that overpromises just to get elected and inevitably delivers only 10% of what they promised. So we're going to be dealing with that archetype as well. So the things that, so yes, this is going to be a pretty positive transit on a personal level. Wherever you have Jupiter coming home to its sign in your own personal chart, that's going to bring blessings to you most likely, or it might just enlarge the house and make you more aware of what you want to go after, what you want to quest after. But, you know, this is going to kind of rehash some of those similar themes that we were experiencing in 2015 and 2016 with the fake news and not knowing what the hell is real anymore, because Jupiter was in hard aspect to Neptune then too. Jupiter was opposite Neptune, and now we are getting the square. However, at that time, Jupiter was in Virgo, so there was a tendency to get kind of caught up in the little details, and people could make a mountain out of a molehill there. So we might have a little bit better of a time navigating this energy now, because Jupiter's not only in its home sign, but has that larger perspective of Sagittarius. So maybe we'll have an easier time seeing the bigger picture when it comes to things. Interestingly, it's squaring off with Neptune in Pisces. Pisces is also the natural home of Jupiter. Nowadays, according to modern astrology, Neptune is also at home in Pisces. But we have to remember that Jupiter is the traditional and ancient ruler of Pisces. So I kind of imagine this square off as Jupiter being like, looking at Neptune like Neptune's an imposter of some kind. Like, who are you to be in my house claiming that you live here? It's like Neptune is like a squatter in his house, and Jupiter's kind of cornering him and saying, hey. So with these two planets, it's a very expansive, you know, Neptune kind of dissolves borders. So, you know, Jupiter says, I believe, I desire, well, maybe not desire, but like, I believe and I think I can do it. I think I can do it. And then Saturn says, no, you got to follow these rules. And then and Saturn says, this is reality. But then you get beyond Saturn and Neptune starts talking about quantum mechanics and holographic universe. And you don't know what the hell is real anymore. So we're going to kind of get a sense of that disorientation. But again, luckily we've got Saturn in Capricorn, we've got Uranus going back into Taurus, so hopefully we can kind of get that grounding that we need. And furthermore with Neptune, so Neptune is actually the one that is kind of linking Jupiter in Sagittarius and Saturn in Capricorn, because throughout the year they're both going to be making aspects to Neptune. So even though Jupiter, you got Jupiter in his home sign, you got Saturn in his home sign, and they're both king of the castle there, but they're not really seeing eye to eye. I think of it like the Lannisters and the Targaryens, you know, they're like, all right, we're both powerful. We're not going to fuck with each other unless we have to. But then you've got Neptune coming in, which is like Jon Snow, and he's like, all right, guys, let's talk. So we're going to be kind of working with that. Saturn is making a closing sextile to Neptune, and Saturn-Neptune aspects are a lot about manifesting the dream. Like, do we have the resources? Do we have what it takes? In a closing sextile, a lot of it is going to be like, what did we do wrong? You know, and I think in this country, we're looking at this American dream. We're kind of getting disillusioned. We've been getting disillusioned, but now we're kind of at a point of constructiveness. Where did we go wrong? What do we have to do next time to make it better? So people are going to get very vocal about what their beliefs are. And a really good example of this energy is actually Donald Trump. He was born on a Sagittarius full moon that was also a lunar eclipse. So he was born on a Sagittarius full moon lunar eclipse, ruled by Jupiter, stationary in Libra. So and Libra is a sign of a politician, and talk. And a lot of his sentences are, oh, mine's the best. You got to know who I know. And everyone who knows me knows that I'm the best and my company is the best and blah, blah, blah. So that kind of sounds like the inflated sales pitch, right? And so we think that we've heard a lot of him talking big like that. It's gonna get even crazier. And we're gonna be maybe hearing it from others. So we need to kind of watch that. In addition to the Supreme Court, some things that might be a topic in a collective level are immigration laws. So Jupiter is all about the laws, and in Sagittarius, this is about foreign policy. So, but this tends to be more open. So I'm not really sure how this is going to exactly play out. All I know is that it will be a topic. When Saturn went through Sagittarius a few years ago, it tried to constrict that freedom. And that's when Trump got elected, promising things like border control, tighter immigration laws, and he did the whole travel ban thing. So Jupiter in this sign might want to talk about those issues again. It seems like when people want to talk about their beliefs with this placement, we're going to kind of see both ends of it, and hopefully throughout the year we can come to a journey where things are a little bit more fair, because Jupiter in Sagittarius is about open and freedom. It wants to talk about freedom. So what does freedom mean to you? So as far as what this transit can bring on a personal level, we're gonna get to that in a future video. I'm doing predictions for 2019 through all the signs, so that will be up in time, so stay tuned. But I just wanna leave off with what this symbol of the archer is actually. So if you think about the image of Sagittarius, it's someone with a bow and arrow aiming for something off in the distance. Who knows if we can even hit that target? Who knows if that target even exists? It might be hypothetical. It's kind of an idealist image. It's an expansive image of possibility. What is possible? What is the potential here? There's a big open world for me to understand, experience, and explore. I want a journey. I want to go after something. I want to expand my mind. I want to learn. I want to have more understanding of the way things are. So the other thing about Sagittarius is that sometimes this can be a sign associated with procrastination, because they're just aiming the arrow. They're just pointing it. We don't know if they're actually going to shoot the arrow. We don't know if the target is actually going to be able to hit it. So if the arrow is going to actually be able to hit the target. So this is a sign where there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and we're not supposed to have all the answers. And so I'm just excited to see what this year might bring, and I hope it's good to you.